So a lot of soil building can be done in the pathways, and we never think about that. The pathways get compacted, muddy, but what we're doing here in Phoenix is turning the pathways into a worm farm, and it can be harvested 3 times a year just by putting organic matter and inoculating it with worms, using manure, coffee grounds, leaves, and then putting a pallet on top of it so you can actually walk on it. The worms are going to digest all this material. Every 3 months we can dig this out and put it on the garden beds or into our annual bed here. So we have, again, stacking functions here. So let's, Peter, lay that back down, and we'll do the next section here. And you can either find a long pallet, or you can saw a pallet in half, and it fits right into our pathway here. So actually you're standing up here and you're not compacting as much as you would if you were walking on it yourself, and it keeps you up high and dry here. And actually it's a pretty good place, it's a pretty good height to work in the beds itself. So you can sit over here and work on the beds as well, and it works well. So we're going to start adding, Caitlin, why don't you start bringing the first bag of leaves in. So we'll put down leaves first as our carbon source. And these are leaves that we stockpiled at the end of the year. We use them all through the winter in our greenhouses for mulching and making up worm farms, individual worm farms in buckets, or now we're doing it in the pathways. And this is something you can do in your garden beds outside. When you're doing raised beds, you can do this very same thing, and then every year you can just dig it up and throw it on your garden bed. So you're composting in place. And then the worms can move right from that area right into your garden beds. So we don't want to waste any space. So why don't you just pull it all the way back? Let's put down about 3 inches of leaves for now.
Jim, you want this 3 inches?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. And we may not have enough for two layers this time, you know?
Enough leaves?
No, or enough material. So we may just go heavy on this and do a one shot. We'll get another bag of leaves.
Okay.
So we're also growing worms in these annual beds just by doing the same thing, just by adding organic material. You can see the amount of worms here. And we're gonna use this as our worm supply. And you can see it goes way down deep here. We're still into a lot of worms. So Caitlin, you can come ahead and start spreading the rabbit manure on top. Source, nitrogen source. You come down here.
Yeah. I'll put it in the front of there. Let's move.
So this is about 5 by 1.5 feet, and then we've already harvested that many worms here. This is a 15-gallon bucket, and there just seems to be an endless supply of worms. Eventually we grow in these beds. Now, okay, the next layer would be the
I gotta finish.
coffee grounds. So we'll put a little humic acid in here as well, so that this humic acid and microbes will follow this material wherever it goes. And you'll get a chance to grow this as well, as we're inoculating with some nice microbes. Yeah, really, and that's not so much. Maybe over there.
Now?
That'll be okay. Bring it over. We put the layer of leaves down, some manure, microbes, humic acid, coffee grounds, and then worms, and then another layer of leaves. And this has some grass clippings in it. So the worms can go either up or down into this carbon source and eventually break it all down. And this will have to get watered in. When we're watering the rest of the greenhouse, we can just water this in without any special effort. So now we can just saw these pallets to the width of the pathway here, and so there we go. We have one more pallet to put in here, and we've got a worm farm and a way to produce organic material, fertilizer, worm castings, growing worms, basically for the whole greenhouse throughout the year now. We have about 80 feet, linear feet, of walkway right here. If we do this 3 times a year, it would be easy to produce all of the fertilizer that we need for the entire greenhouse right here in this one particular walkway. Now that we have the soils built up from a year and a half of sheet mulching, a little bit of mulch and whatever we're doing here probably will take this this greenhouse into the next millennium as far as soil fertility, and you can sell extra worms.